Hello guys, Exeter here. Welcome to Pressing Incidents. This is what the module will look like. It will have a smaller module, it's a bigger one, and a button here, and some buttons on the smaller module. There are two parts to this module: activating the crusher and solving rushed arrows. So first of all, we need to figure out when to activate the crusher. For the module activating the crushers, between the crushers is just to make an easy module slightly more challenging. To activate the crushers, we need to press it when the seconds timer shows a certain number, mod 60, using these rules. So, we always start with the sum of the digits in the serial number, so that's 8 plus 8, and the number of letters in the serial number. So, the number of letters in the serial number is 4. If warning signs is present, these modules, warning signs, speed test, code cracker, and method dimensions, these are of course other modules in the game. We don't have any of those present here though. So, this is not true. If FRK is present, no. For each of the following modules present on the bottom, we don't have any. For each port we subtract 2, so that's minus 2 minus 2. And then for each battery we subtract 13, minus 13, minus 13, or minus 13 5 times. So, after adding these values together, we get negative 49. If something is negative, we repeatedly add 60 until it's not. So 11, that is the number we have. So we're going to be pressing, and the seconds here are 11. However, we can actually prepare some stuff before we press the crusher, since each of these buttons will have a truth value, which will be referenced here. So, we take the shape of the button and which way it's pointing in relation to the middle screen to figure out two true and false values. In simple terms, if it's pointing towards or away from it, it's false. If it's pointing to the left or right of it, it's going to be true. And then the shape's here. So here we have square towards, which is false, false. We then have square clockwise or counterclockwise, so pointing to the side of it, so that's false, true. We then have triangle, true, and then clockwise or counter, so true. And finally, dart, true, and then towards it, so false. Those are values, and when we activate the module, one of these letters will appear on the screen. One of these letters will appear on the screen. It tells us which operator we need to use and what the desired output is. So if we go C, we want the operation of AND to return false, since it's the intersection here. And of course, with the crushing, that's under a time limit. So, once we start off, I'll get into some interesting parts afterwards, which I'll show with this one. So, let's just start this one at the appropriate time, of course. Hopefully coming up. Hopefully, if we calculate the time right. So we have V, which gives us true on null, which is false, false. H, which gives us false on NAND, which is true, true, and M, which is true on OR, which you can use this one. We get GG. One thing I forgot to mention is if an arrow is pressed that did not return the correct value, or the same value arrow is pressed more than once, so hence why I said the only available ones were these two. So we press false, false, and we press true, true. So true, false, and false, true were our only options, but both were fine. We now have to wait for the module to get smushed, which might take a little bit. And since we get these two options, keep and discard. If the small module was not solved, discard it. If the smaller module was solved, keep it. So in this case, we're going to be keeping it. And we get a solved module, where we get a funny, squished solved status light. So, let's calculate. We have our value still, because it's the same serial number. So I'm going to use this one to show some extra quirks about it. So say we didn't complete it in time, what would happen then? Well, thankfully, if you run out of time, you don't strike. So let's start this. And I'll leave it here once I explain. The question is, the small module may stop functioning completely, the module is squished too much, and so squished modules must be replaced, which is what is mentioned here. Do know you can strike if you press the wrong button, of course. And if the small module was not solved, that's when we discard it, which discarding it will change. Discarding a smaller module, solved or not, will not incur a strike. So you can actually discard it if you solved it. So, yeah. Don't do that, because then you have to do it again. So, getting adequately squished now. So after it has been squished, so if we did not solve it, we must discard it, or you get a new generation. So let's figure out true and false values this time. So we have dart towards, true, false. We have triangle clock or counter, so true, true. Circle clock or counter, false, true. And square away, false, false. So reactivating the module. Go K. False from XNOR. We can use false, true. False from OR. We use false, false. And then true from this one, we can use true, true. And we get under GG. So, just to explain this again. Activating the crusher, go through each of these rules. Be aware of what warning signs, speed test, code cracker, and anti-magnetic dimensions look like in order to apply these rules. Take the sum module 60 if it's positive. If it's negative, please add 60 until it's not. So since we solved this module, we can keep it. Then we get another sub-module. So, is there much more to say? Not really. So that was pressing incidents. It's a pretty simple module, but of course, with a very interesting time limit. Hopefully, pressing incidents makes a bit more sense now. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. I'll see you later.